What's going on, guys? Michael Elliott here. So today I'm going to be taking you through the standard agency automation process and the way that they handle sales. Now, businesses are top heavy. They often just focus on the generation of the leads, and the taking care of the leads from that point onwards is a very laborious and manual task. Over the last 14 years, I have seen everything from good, the bad, the ugly to non-existent. Literally inquiries coming through the door, inbound, getting called twice, one email, put straight in the bin. It still happens today. With the capabilities that we have from an automation point of view, we have no excuse not to make sure that we have a bulletproof sales process. And if we don't have a bulletproof sales process, you're leaking revenue. Whether you are a freelancer that makes 6K a month and is looking to reach 10, 15, 20, 30K, or whether you're own a large business that does 30 million a year, your sales process can almost definitely be improved by using some of the methods I'm about to discuss. So if that sounds like something that you want to understand, then stick with me and let's dive into it. So this is the standard lead management process that an agency would use. Okay, now this standard process starts with obviously inbound. If you do not have inquiries coming through the door, then you don't need a sales process. So this is where the focus is. Businesses believe that they need to be able to scale their inbound inquiries in order for them to be able to scale their business. They are completely wrong. What they need to do is ensure that they are maximizing what happens once the sales process begins. Because inside of here is where all of the dollar amounts are truly made. Don't get me wrong, this is critical. So you might be a freelancer right now and you're in a position where you are strictly focusing on cold email. And cold email is your outreach because it's the cheapest possible option for you. You're leveraging that. Excellent process. I win business through cold email almost every single day, if not multiple times a week. It's extremely effective and it gives you the opportunity to tap into areas as long as you're creative and the approach is correct. It's fantastic. But if you look at the standard model where there's investment that comes from everything, whether that be from organic rankings, whether that be from paid search, Google Ads, Microsoft, referral schemes or referrals from existing clients, social media, cold email, and everything in between, you end up in a process where the inbound lead happens and the sales process starts. Now, the standard sales process that businesses follow is that they'll laboriously book a meeting. So there's an email, there's a phone call, they'll have some sort of standard operating procedure that says, call same day. I've seen businesses that don't get to new inquiries for 24, 48 hours. Speed to lead is absolutely critical. If you get an inquiry, whether it's for a freelancing platform, whether it's for a form submission, you need to dive on it immediately. So this process should be automated from the get-go. But we're sticking with the standard model for now. The meeting gets booked in. And once the meeting booked in, only two things can happen. So the meeting is booked. If the meeting doesn't book, then the sales process doesn't really start. It starts here, effectively. Now, the meeting is booked, and that meeting is either a no-show, rebooked, or the meeting takes place. Those are the only three things that can happen. They either turn up and the meeting takes place, they don't, and it's a no-show, and then the client emails, the inquiry email says, hey, listen, Mike, I can't make it today. Something's happened with the car. Can we book in for tomorrow? No problem. That goes back to meeting booked in. Now, what happens in agencies is they have a traditional follow-up via email and call model. So that follow-up via email and call model is, let's say this is employee number one, and he gets handed an incoming inquiry. So he gets handled one inquiry. So the meeting gets booked in and the meeting no shows. Okay? So it's come through these two steps. It's now passed over to the sales team to handle. And the SOP will probably be top heavy. So it'll be extremely top heavy like this. And in days 1 to 3, let's say, there might be 2 calls and 2 emails. But during this amount of time, said employee has received another 5 emails that have come through that have no-shown, and plus he's handling, when the sales meeting has taken place, the contract and next step operations in order for it to make it a success and bring them on board. So you can understand how said sales guy, who's possibly paid on a commission basis, is going to be more favored towards the leads that are at the top of the funnel in here, where the quick money is for him, instead of following down on this flow and taking dollar amounts out at individual steps. There are 1,000 reasons why an inquiry might book a meeting, not be able to make it, something happens, they forget, the calendars were broken, they fall ill, that, whatever it might be. But just because that lead happens and your top of funnel flow is still going and you're inundated with inquiries, does not mean that you should be neglecting them. What we're looking at here in terms of this image is absolutely correct. Because when you get a new lead come through, they are hot. One thing you need to understand is speed to lead is absolutely critical. The speed to a lead is the winner. I actually hired somebody for something this morning. They responded to me first, and literally within 5 minutes the contract was open and we began work. It was only a small task, but I needed something done, and he was the first person to answer, which is why he won the job. And if it was someone else, it would have been them, as long as I took a look through and the brief chat was acceptable. So speed to lead, sales rep here is 100% correct to focus on this. This is the hot new sexy gold that has come through. Some of them will be varying sizes. There might be a big lead that comes through. But what happens is, if a business gets, say, 50 inquiries a week, or 100 inquiries a week, or 10,000 inquiries a week, if you look at that drawing that I just put together of the sort of very, very, very dodgy triangle that's weighted to the top, being top heavy, the bigger you are and the more leads you have, the more focus gets put onto the 10,000 leads a week that you get, let's say, some crazy large business, 10,000 leads a week. The rest of them, they might convert, I don't know, at a 20% rate that follow this flow. So the sales meeting happens. Do they want to proceed? The contract is sent. The project starts. Happy days. 20% of them are closed. I don't know, right? I'm just making up numbers out of the air. But 20% of them are closed. But the other 80% are completely neglected in this specific scenario, because the sales guy is focusing, the sales rep is focusing on all of this and the 20%, because automations aren't in place for the business. Now, this is called reactivation. What I'm about to go into in a moment is the reactivation and nurturing, lead nurturing, and how you can improve that to improve your sales process and ultimately the revenue that is generated out of the inquiries. All businesses focus on this. They focus on this. They want to increase their inbound inquiries. They think that more spend, scaling Google Ad spends, new structures, going into new locations is the key. They think that by doing that, they're in a position where that they can scale. I'm telling you now, the number one problem in 99.9% of businesses comes from their lead nurturing process, because they're not using AI to follow up. They have manual systems based off of reps, and the way that they are based off of commission, generally speaking, means that they will always go after the low-hanging fruit that they want to convert. And your job as a business owner or freelancer, whether you're small or not, is to make sure that as your inquiries come in, you use the maximum amount of tools available to ensure that you squeeze as much out of the 100% of the inquiries as physically possible. I'll go into a piece of information once I complete this flow. But that's the way that the issues start and where they fall into place. Now, this is the procedure. They follow up via emails and calls. They get less and less over 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. They might have automations to send them emails once a month, then quarterly, and then annually or whatever. They have the basic flow set up. That's fine. But if they're unresponsive, they close and they forget them. Now, let's look at it from a positive light. Happy days. Great inquiries generated through our paid resources because Michael Elliott has built us an automated process that happens and handles the 100K of ad spend for them. And you get to this stage where the sales process happens. The meeting's booked in. It's a big green light. The client's got a 3K a month budget for management, and they spend 15K on Google Ads a month. So this Google Ads agency is in a good position. The sales meeting happens. If they're not a good fit, they just get closed. Yes, I shouldn't use green there, but that's common sense. If they're never going to be a good fit and they're just not right, they're a small company and want to spend $200 a month on your services or whatever, and it's just not feasible, then you bin them and you close and forget them. You don't get along with them. They take an attitude that's derogatory, condescending, and you feel like you don't want to work with them. Then you just get rid of them. Number one tip in business: do not chase the money. Chase the processes and love the hustle to get there. Because working with clients that do not fit your sort of caliber of expectations, over demanding, lack of respect, that condescending tone will absolutely cripple you. It will get the hours you put into it, the mental drain, the mental stress, forget about it. There are plenty of good businesses out there willing to invest in you, and they're willing to pay you the money as long as you can deliver the output that they need. And you should 1,000% be focusing on that. Do not be scared to walk away. The power of walking away is critical in sales negotiation. Okay? Do not ever get drawn into that. So we go down here. The process continues. Said rep goes into PandaDoc, creates the new PandaDoc that includes a little bit about the standard of work which is necessary. And then the project starts. The project starts. That's a green tick. The company is happy because the sales rep made the project start, and the sales rep is happy because he generated the dollar amount from his commission. So his pay pack is a bit bigger this month. Okay. Now, that process is redundant. It still works to win a certain amount of projects, but what we're looking for is efficiency. Now, an automated agency lead handling process not only contains, let me just zoom in a little bit for you, not only contains the sort of sales process that we had before. It can contain any of these, whether you're a freelancer or not. Obviously, I mentioned a minute ago, there's some high ticket ones. You have freelancing platforms, you have networks, you have individual social media communities and groups, school groups, communities that you can join, everything. I get a lot of this work now from historical projects, so I have a huge amount of referrals that get passed on. When you do a good job, that will naturally happen and you'll naturally grow. Obviously, I have a huge background in Google Ads and SEO. It's where I originally learned my trade until 3 or 4 years ago, taking up the automation wave once I saw that that's the way that it was going. Google Ads and digital marketing strategies are still the core of what I do, and probably always will be, because I absolutely love it. But implementing automation into those businesses through that, as a byproduct of that, is why I'm here today discussing these processes with you. So you will have that, but you will also probably, because you're into AI automation and you understand it, you're probably in a position where you're looking at personal branding, leveraging AI's power for anything sales related, whether that just be PR, whether that, it could be anything that you're trying to do. But you add this sort of little layer of funnel on it that isn't corporate. Now, all of these can potentially still apply, so I left them, and there is an everything else box in case someone says, hey, Mike, you didn't add this. Yeah, well, yeah, I know. I didn't list every sort of inbound approach that you can possibly get. But the point starts from the sales process. Now, there's a sales meeting. The sales meeting happens and it's booked in. So the inquiry comes through. The sales meeting is booked in. This process still happens. If they're a no-show, they can get if they're rebooked, then they go back in and the meeting is rebooked, and that's absolutely fine. Like I said, it's natural. But if there are a no-show, instead of James, the sales rep, being like, oh, I can't be bothered to call that inquiry that was a no-show on that call that day because I've got 15 new inquiries since, and 4 of them I think I'm going to close very quickly. You have AI agents handle the communication. That can be anything from AI voice answering phone calls for you, which is consistently developing and improving over time, to AI two-way systems that use back and forward email, WhatsApp, SMS outreach, LinkedIn outreach. You can use these tools to have an AI agent pick up the lead from there, okay? You could do everything from cold phone call outbound to all of what I've just explained. You could do all of that. Personally, I like some of James's work. I like to make sure that although the AI agent is handling communication, absolutely critical, to SMS, WhatsApp, email, should be all AI. But I like James occasionally picking up the phone and making a call. It's personal preference. You can fully automate it, but just me, when I speak to businesses, I like it when they say that, they want to build a personal relationship because said account manager is going to be their account manager if they sign, and it would be great if they could hear from him. Although the agent appears to be him, the actual personalization, some people are introverts, some are extroverts. If you're an extrovert like myself, then you just want to talk. And I like it when there's a little bit of that mixed in. But let's stick on the task of the automation because that's what we're here to talk about. When you think about the AI agent handling comms, I'm going to show you here a business that has... This business is a business that actually I own. So I'm a director of business with a business partner of mine who happens to be my best friend, Josh. And he has a huge and wealth of experience in the holiday home industry in the UK. Now, this business has an automated two-way agent using CloseBot and Go High Level that handles a two-way back and forward with individual inquiries where we can step in if something happens and there's an alert that goes off that says if something happens with the individual process, or some of them that you go through to get to a situation where they upload the photos. So this particular example here is a conversation that came in from an inquiry, okay? Let me just go back to all the messages. I'm not going to go too far back. So you can see the opportunity was created on the 11th of June, 2025. This was automated by Jess from We Are Static Buyers that completed the quote form. It then goes through another, this actually rechased again 2 minutes later. I remember this bug. So this is AI in a nutshell. This was a bug with the system where we'd had, because of the way that he'd submitted the form, it was like the third time that we'd found it and it had happened. It sent the information twice. The point is that it rechased actually. So you could say that it actually worked in that particular case. It chased. It goes through. It already knows the information about what holiday home static home. Don't worry about the industry. I'm just going through the specific information. The form contained the type of caravan/static home that it had. It asked if there were any significant issues. It's in very good condition and no. That's excellent. Oops. That's excellent news. Now could you please let us know the size? It's a 2-bed 35 by 12 caravan. That helps us allocate to further trade later. Thanks for that, Steve. It's helpful to know if it's... Sorry, I keep getting the wrong keys. One more crucial detail. Could you tell me what year it is? 2015. So we now know that Steve has a Willoughby Rio Premier that's in very good condition, that is, according to him, we have to check that, of course, that is 35 foot by 12 and is 2-bedroomed in 2015. Now, it's situated on a holiday park, and it's also asked whether he's had a quote from the park to purchase it. The answer to that was no. This goes all the way through to a step where photos are uploaded. That is our target aim for inbound inquiries. Our target aim is to get them to upload photos and actually deliver the images that showcase the quality of the caravan. Just because somebody says the quality is good, just because somebody says the quality of service is good, doesn't mean that it is. Okay? So that is our end goal. Your end goal can be anything. It could be like with businesses in the insurance industry. I've done it where they have to upload ID verifications and copy of their insurance documents. Car claims, exactly the same thing. But anything for any business, whether it be, just nurturing them to get them to conversationally book a call. Like these agents conversationally book a call with them. So this agent, if we wanted it to, would conversationally book the call with them. Now, this continues to go through to the opportunity updated, and this is now passed to Josh. Okay? So on the 22nd of June 2025, this went to Josh manually. Josh handled the deal and ultimately closed it. So the reason I'm saying this is because if we look at this dashboard, there is one man handling this, and we get quieter in summer, believe it or not, from a holiday home perspective, this particular business, because of the fact that people are staying in their holiday homes because it's hot. I mean, it's red hot in the UK at the moment, and people are loving it, and they're using them. So we get less. Out of 195 contacted, there was 141 conversations. I don't know your average business or your freelance response rate from an inquiry that's inbound, but that is a very good response rate from an SMS point of view only. This is just SMS, right? So this doesn't include the amount of times Josh, which is the sales rep here, hi Josh, the sales rep here, who's picked up the phone and gave them a call. It doesn't include that. But the key thing is that, and I'm not going to do the maths because I don't think it's necessary. But you can see that out of the 195 leads that we've had in, I think is the last 30 days, in the last 30 days, 71 of those individuals uploaded photos. That means like what, 40%, 38%, somewhere around there. Don't shoot me if that's off, but somewhere around there actually went on to upload from the amount that we actually contacted, so the amount of leads we received. But in regards to the amount of conversations started that got photos upload, it was 50%. Half. That's a terrible attempt. 50%. 50% of our inquiries did the crucial and critical element of our onboarding system. They uploaded photos. From here, we close at 70 to 80% rate. So the deals that we get and receive and actually have been automated and processed, whenever they have responded, we've closed them at over a 50% rate. That is insane. And that is why this is absolutely critical to your business. That doesn't have a voice agent. It has automatic follow-ups. It checks in with them. It checks in with them based off of a bit more of an explanation. Caravan parks are they can be 12 months. They can be residential, so you can live there. They can be 9 months, 7 months in terms of the amount of time they're in use and open. Well, obviously, what that means is that for this said business, October, November, December, winter to spring. Let's just say winter to spring. Winter to spring is key because in winter, the season's done, the weather's poor, the site's not open, they want to sell. In spring, their site fees become due, so they're in a position where, they're due to pay out quite a lot of money for the payment, and maybe it's something that's not feasible and they want to sell. The point is that our AI agent handles all of this communication until the point of upload, or Josh sees an inquiry that's not responding back via SMS that is a good one, he will call. And that was where I was going earlier with we like the human touch. Okay. The AI agent handles comms Is the reactivation? I'll get rid of that. So meetings booked in. If they turn up, sales meeting happens, contracts signed, and project starts. All of that can happen. Yes, we understand that can happen. This is always going to be there. If somebody responds saying something that we don't like, we just kill it. We kill the inquiry. We don't chase the money. We chase the processes, which is exactly what I'm trying to explain to you. This is just one of my businesses. I own 6 now, and they're investments more than they're my businesses. I don't have a thing to do with them. I sign a few papers from the accountant every year, and I help with digital advertising and automation. So this is because of the fact that I can automate everything, that we're in this position. And that is part of the process that I'm trying to drill into you here as to why it's important, not only for you, but to sell onto your businesses. No business can do this. No business can do this. How many members of sales staff do you think it would take to be able to handle 50 leads a week? Right? That's 10 inquiries a day. To effectively handle them, follow them up, call them at the right time, and give them the correct information at the right time is impossible for one person. Well, we do it with half a man. Josh doesn't have to do anything until it gets to this point and a few of the phone calls that he makes. So this is why I'm trying to drill this individual sales process home to you and showcase to you an example of how it automatically, conversationally got the action that was desired. What that action is unique to you. But what for us, that was the action in that particular case. And I wanted to showcase it to you. Now, here, when we have a no-show, okay, so we don't even have this meeting booked in. Like, this doesn't exist in our flow, but in standard flows it does, which is why it's here. The AI agent, basically, sales is processed, the inquiry is processed, and the AI agent handles the comms. Now, then, if reactivation is successful, Josh will speak to them. So if the conversation goes how that one did, then it's a phone call to discuss more information and details, negotiations of price, etc. Now, that sales meeting happens, okay, if that's the case. But if it's not, and the reactivation, they just keep ignoring the text, then they don't answer when Josh calls, because there's always that call right off the bat. There's no call from there. There's a long-term AI lead activation that nurtures them. And guess what? It hits them during winter, and mainly during winter and spring, because we know that their site fees are up for renewal, or this business knows that their site fees are up for renewal. That's a cost. We know that they're not using the holiday home at that time and might want to get rid of it, an injection of cash. They might be fed up of it. They've been there for 7 years with the same van, and they just want to change location. They want to buy somewhere new. They want to completely, get rid of caravan, their holiday home altogether, whatever it might be. But the long-term reactivation goes on for like years, literally years. The cost of sending SMSs and emails and stuff is nothing, like in comparison to the output. Eventually, you do end up, and I've put annual check-ins here for this. We don't do annual. We do more than that for that business alone. But some businesses do annual. If you've chased them for a year and they're still not there, you do annual check-ins. You do biannual check-ins, whatever. And eventually, there is a point where you close it. Like, what that is to you is different. That can be for a conveyancer. That can be, 3 months because they've already moved house. They don't need the service anymore. But for somebody looking to purchase a yacht, that could be something that lasts 5 years, and then they end up purchasing. So you understand that flow. But sticking with the positive elements of this, right? So the reactivation is successful. The sales meeting happens. What this is that the AI gets all of the information automatically on its own. It can get whatever information you want out of them, their budget, whatever, It handles that inquiry process through that step. What then happens is the sales meeting / which is a call that Josh makes once those photo uploads have been made. As a business, the reactivation happens, and then you book in the sales meeting. You could use it to conversationally book this meeting. The meeting happens. Payment. So there's 2 ways of doing this now where I'm going to go. This, again, still stands, so forget that bit. The sales meeting happens, so the sales meeting has happened. Now, there's a few tricks that I like if you're on a sales meeting trying to close. Now, I've closed hundreds of millions in deals in my career, literally hundreds of millions. And it's done by, you have to have a good service. I would never close a project that I don't think I can help or benefit and is the right fit. It's just not the way I operate. I'm 100% transparent. I'll tell you exactly as it is, and I'll give you what we can do, what we can't do, what the expected results are, what the guarantees are, what we can't guarantee. All of these things, you should be straight. Be straight, and your conversion rate will increase, because people respect that a lot, and it's very hard to find in this day and age. But when you're talking about the sales process, you need to go to that meeting prepared. You need to go to the sales point absolutely ready to rock and roll. So I like to skip a step. I like it when the sales meeting's booked in. Let's say it's 2 p.m. on Tuesday, right? Tuesday. One of the tactics I like is that payment and scope of work is already outlined for you. So let's say you have an invoice. I sometimes even create the invoice before the call, depending on the way that this goes, and the scope of the work is also inside of a said document, a Panda doc, a DocuSign, or whatever document that you are using. But that's all prepared. So when you're on the call, the contract can be signed and completed right there and then. If the client is serious and you've maybe provided an audit, or you've given some sort of case study and explained looms, whatever it is that you've done, you've provided all of this value, and the communication's been ongoing via AI and by yourself, whatever suits your company. It's not one size fits all, but whatever suits your company. If you end up having this call, you can do all of these things, on that specific call. Ask them directly. Make sure when you're on a sales call, make sure that when you're on a sales call, that you are using yes and no answers. When you get to the point of closing, you need to be in a position where you're saying, so the audit that I've produced for you, you can see where your business is currently hemorrhaging $20,000 a month. Yes. Okay. So we know that there's massive improvements to be made. The structure that we've outlined in terms of our approach and what next steps we would take, including X, Y, and Z, you agree that they're the right steps for your business to take? Yes. At that point, you go through a couple of those questions that suits your business. So you've discussed the commercials. You go through that. Are you happy with the price and ready to proceed? You don't mention the price, but don't use that exact example. But say, are you, the investment that you have to make is X. Are you happy to proceed? Yes. Okay, well, I've got everything here ready available for us to do it. And once that happens, we'll start the project. And that is how you close a deal. So you do all of this. With that being said, and potentially a lot of automation experts watching this video, what you can actually do from start to finish is launch a business that uses tools such as this one, such as this Go High Level with Closebot, that uses that to be able to, for this business, we could implement it. It's actually, let me go through it quickly if you want to stick with me. So we get these clients to sign a Panda doc and pay them a deposit. Once that Panda doc is signed, there's contractual agreements inside of it because of costings that come into place. Now, we have long, discussed the automation of sending said Panda doc, because we have all of the information. Once it's done, it's stored in Go High Level. So we could automatically tailor the Panda doc. The thing is that in this particular industry, there are a lot of individual use cases that mean that the contract tends to be edited a lot. So, for example, disconnection fees from the park percentages that the client has to pay, transport, all of these things that come into this individual business's model mean that that's why we haven't implemented it. But the point of this video was to showcase to you how you should be automating your processes. And I've given you a very clear example of how to do it. When the sales process starts, do not let James handle all of the inbound leads, because he's going to get dragged down with the top-heavy approach of the inbound. It's all right if he gets 5 leads a week. You can handle it manually. Fine. You still shouldn't, but you can handle it manually. What happens, though, is that this bit here is just left. And there's a huge amount of people that we have come back reactivation wise that we closed 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks later. And then 2, 3, 6, 12 months later for the business that I just showed you. Simply because there is an AI agent that is nurturing it. Now, I think that gives an overall coverage. The automation from processes from project when they start, creation of their products inside of your CRM, and the onboarding and welcome information and all of that lovely stuff. All of that is is fine. That is a separate video, but this is something that you can sell for thousands, literally 10, 15,000 per installation if done properly. Now, I think that from a business overview, this is the most critical thing to increasing businesses' revenue. If businesses aren't currently maximizing this 100%, you can go straight into their business and you can provide value that is direct money in the bank, and they will pay you for that. And that is the key to automation solutions and services. It's that you solve a problem that makes them money. Fixing their internal processes saves them time, therefore it saves them money. But fixing their sales process and approaching it in this way completely changes the landscape of their output. Their conversion rates in some cases, I've seen close rates from inquiry go from inquiry to close lost or won be like 13%. But when you add the AI automation inside of it and you sort of soften them up, some people don't want to get on the phone straight away. They don't like it. It feels invasive that you call them immediately. But the email two-way back and forward, or the SMS two-way back and forward that they have with AI softens them up to a point where it can conversationally book a call, fill the business's sales team's calendar, and it runs on autopilot. And all you need then is good closers like me that can get on a call, discuss, and close the deal for you. The hard work is done. My name's Michael. If you're interested in running an automation solution like this for your business, hit me up in the description below. Thanks for watching.